This week on And You Don't Stop, we follow up on the arts of Son Jarocho and Bomba in Santa Ana. And we have ILLnes representing Salvajes on Rooftop Live. While at the Centro Cultural de Mexico in Santa Ana, we got to hear from local artists on the history of Son Jarocho, the AfroIndigenous music from Veracruz. They spoke about reconnecting with their African roots through Son Jarocho culture and their efforts to unite the Puerto Rican and Mexican community with Bombazo Fandango, a yearly gathering that brings together the worlds of Bomba and Son Jarocho.
I was born in a pueblo called San Nicolás, which is understood that it's un pueblo negro. When I was 6 years old, my family moved from that town to a bigger town, and there's more diversity there, but because there's more diversity, now you can clearly see how people define themselves, or how you clearly see these different groups. You have native communities, you have the black communities, but also you have like light-skinned community. My mom, her mother was native and her dad was black. And when I was born, my dad was an albino, and so my dad was just white. And my mama now define themselves as being morenos. Moreno is a term that was picked up by Afro-Mexicanos because it gave them a Mexican identity. Before that, I even asked my mom, like, who are the black people in Guerrero? Like, who are the black people in Costa Chica? Even today, if you go to the Mexican history books, you will not find documents that say that there's black people in Mexico. You go to Mexico today and there's Mexican people don't know that there's black people in Mexico. And so when I came to Santa Ana and I learned about son and how closely related it was to the Afro-Mexicana music, La Artesa from Guerrero, and I was like, learning about Veracruz and how in Veracruz, I was like, where people, the influence, one of the oldest cultures come from Veracruz in the Olmecas. And the Olmecas, you can clearly, people make the arguments about like, this is native communities. They made these colossal heads that look like, African people, I guess. People, when you try to make that argument, like, no. It's like, well, you can see it. I'm like, it's like the characteristics of these colossal heads, very much characteristics of the black communities in Mexico, or even the black communities elsewhere. In Guerrero, you see more the people that were raised by the ocean were the people that developed this music, because it comes from a culture of fishermen. And so then, because of like how they used to have their boats, and they used to turn their boats over, and they used to dance on top of it.
The women often hold down the tarima, and it's the kind of the central place of the fandango. So I've heard at different moments, people think of it as like if that's the only thing that we can do, or if that's like a particular designated role. But I think rather than say like, oh, I'm not gonna dance, I think it is like a very, powerful. It's a very powerful and important role to play, and I think it's about like honoring that, and it's about saying like, without the tarima, you wouldn't have a fandango. So I've been playing son since I was about 15, so that's like 13 years now. I first got involved as a young kid. I was fortunate that my mom brought me to the space, to the centro, and it was at a time when I was looking for something. At that time, I thought it was mariachi music, something that would connect me to my culture. I grew up here in the States. I came when I was really young. I was born in Mexico, but I always had like a nostalgia, and I always felt very Mexican. And I was looking for a way to express it, and for a way to live it on a daily basis. And when I came to the centro, I think I found that through the music. The Bombazo Fandango here at the Centro, I think from the first time it happened, it was a total hit. I remember at that time we saw, like, we met for the first time a lot of the Puerto Ricans that lived here in Santa Ana that we didn't know.
Me, I find Puerto Ricans anywhere and everywhere because I have the flag and we find each other, you know, like, oh, hey, buddy, you know, I'll stop freaking highway, whatever, you know, it takes to say what's up. Pero now people are like, the Bombazo Fandango, it's gonna be the 5th year. To me, it's an honor, you know, that people receive it so much. Obviamente, estas músicas, estas culturas, pues, tienen cientos de años, you know, el son jarocho, la bomba, y está vivo por una razón importante, you know, que sirve todavía un rol tan importante para nosotros, you know, para mira, para el futuro.
The power of culture and social movements I feel is unlimited. Culture is the manifestation, the sheer representation of those elements that every great civilization and culture has. You paint pictures, not just with paintings and spray cans, but you do it with words, you do it with music, you do it with dance. So that culture, it only enhances the movement, you know, because that's how you're able to tell stories and really affect people. That's how you're able to spread messages. And on some real you'll be able to spread messages you normally couldn't, because you know, establishments won't let you say it. But with music and the culture, you're able to drive these forces on a much, much deeper level, down to earth and full in the heart, baby. The way I flow, I do it with multi-language, so I'm bilingual. I was blessed enough to have a Mexican mother, Mexican parents, but raised here in the US. And through that, you learn multiple channels of how to communicate with people. Language is very powerful. So my way is I want to evolve it. I've heard a lot of people spit in Spanish, a lot of people spit in English, but no one's ever done it on a hybrid where, you know, someone's really dope and someone really is saying something, someone's really doing something. So for me, it's a way to stand out, you know, be original, and at the same time, it ain't just for a gimmick, exactly who I am. This is how since I was a kid, I've been a translator for my mom's, you know, growing up and not knowing what the hell this man's saying. You know, and at the same time, I've been the other way around. I had to translate what the culture is to people who want to learn it, you know, who ain't necessarily speaking Spanish. Running round 4th Street diciéndole la 4, playing maquinitas till the sun está bajando. Todo este mandado tenía que traer. Distracted by the streets, now the chancla's what I get. Mad respect to my jefa. Cooking up a meal, the whole block smelling good. Up in Orange and Camille. Fresh masa comprada en el Toro, el Metate. Tortillas bien frescas. Thank you, mi madre. But if I had 2 lucky Geyser Moss, 2 teriyaki chicken bowl, 1 for me, 1 for you. Y luego a caminar to Fiesta Marketplace. Try and change the name. Trust it'll always stay the same. East en la 4, no sé lo que dicen. Paso G Mics, it gets packed on the weekends. Pops back at home, pisteando ya lo saben. Watching Julio Cesar Chavez y en la Gigante. When I was a kid, usaba el carrusel. Growing up a little more, cruising down the riverbed. Creciendo un poco más, aprendiendo a entender. Diciéndome salvaje, got me spitting off the head. Remember what I did, I'm glad I'm still alive. If you don't know, now you know the yoke's gentrified. Ahora que la bronca, dicen que no entres. Matrícula no es suficiente, no entrance. I love my city, lo que digo todo el día. Up to no good, must avoid la policía. Everything is good cuando no se ve la migra. Santa Ana Savage, lo que digo todo el día.